Hey guys, welcome back, Control Line Craftsman. We are going to finish up the fuselage that we started with Monokote. Okay, where we left off, really all we did was secure a good base, a good starting point. That way we have somewhere to pull and tug and stretch this stuff. We're going to use tape to help us hold at the tail. A lot of times I'll hold the fuselage kind of between my legs and hold the iron in one hand and pull with the other hand, but can't really do that with the camera. So what I'm going to do is tape one corner down first. And I'm just, folding a corner of the tape over so I can pull it off easier. And then I'm going to take and pull pretty tight directly away from the other piece of tape. Tape that down. Now with that in place, we can pull, I don't know if you see, but we can pull it this way away from the tape, and we're actually pulling this whole thing tight all at the same time. You could also tape here and here and stretch it away if you would like. But if you have the two pieces of tape at the end, one of the cool things about that is that you can actually turn this, and as you can see, the wrinkles are going to move. So now that we have this, it's like having our third hand. The iron's still set around 275. I'm going to set it a little bit lower. I don't want it to shrink so fast. Set it about 260. So we can rotate this fuse to get out the wrinkles in any trouble spots we're having, because right now our main focus is just to not get any creases. We're just going to work it. So take kind of from the center and go up, diagonal, down, diagonal, and you'll really see the outline stand out, and the Monokote's actually going to kind of come up on the outline because we're stretching it, That's it. We kind of secured that fairly well. If you have any wrinkles that aren't adhered, remember to lift the covering away from the wood, get rid of the wrinkles, and then stick it down to the wood so it's nice and smooth. The only real areas that you should have any wrinkles form is going to be up here where you got some really compound, where you got you go from the canopy down the spine of the fuse. Other than that, really not much. Okay, now we're going to work on the doublers. And I'm going to move camera a little closer so you can see that. Kind of more up close. I really hope this works. Got kind of a weird camera setup here. If you saw my picture, it's just a bent piece of 1-inch aluminum that I rubber band my phone to. So now the tape in the back isn't really helping us stretch the Monokote itself because, you know, it's adhered, but it is going to help us. We can still tug on it. You know, it's still going to help us hold it. So you don't want to pull the Monokote because then the Monokote at this doubler is going to raise. Well, then you would have to stretch it down. So what you want to do is let it relax around that seam. You know, find that seam, take the tip and just tack it on the base of that doubler. That way you can see where wrinkles are going to form. I'm going to go ahead and turn up the heat a little bit. Turn it up to about 280. Okay, so where those wrinkles are going to form, the reason we started where we did is so that we can get rid of those wrinkles now before it adheres to the wood, now that we've tacked it to that doubler. And once we do this, you're going to get a little bit of wrinkles right up here, and we're actually going to push into the wing saddle to stretch those out. So now we can make sure that you're tacked pretty good on that bevel where the doubler hits the fuse. And it should adhere pretty good because if you'll recall, that's where we put our balsa right. So we should have no adhesion issues. Remember, you have a hole right in the middle, so you can actually put your finger under there and stretch if you need to help you get rid of any wrinkles. And what we're going to do is, like I said, we're heating up the covering. We can shrink some wrinkles out. Then you adhere it to the wood. That way, nice and smooth. And we're stuck to the doubler there. And we don't have to make any cuts. We don't have to make any splits and twist it over. You know, one way you could do this would be to cover the base of it first, put some little Monokote fillets, and then start on the doubler, which doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks fine. The difference is you would be able to see a seam, where with this, our goal is to have no seams and give the appearance of a paint job. That's our goal. Like I said, this does take a little bit of practice to get that. It's not perfect yet because it's still going to look like there may be wrinkles here, which there is. You know, all this is going to kind of throw your eye off. But see, we're on that doubler. We're tacked down very well. We're not tacked to the plywood yet. But as you can see, we came up and over that. These wrinkles, don't worry about those because those are in the wing saddle. Those are not adhered yet. So we're going to get this to all look very smooth. It's all going to be one piece. There's no cuts. And it's going to stick very well for a long time. There. Okay. Same thing on this side. You want to give yourself a little bit of excess. The doubler's here. You want to give yourself, you know, like a good inch or so to compensate for wrinkles. You know, we want to have somewhere that we can pull wrinkles out of, because we're doing compound curves and we're going up and over. You know, this doubler, it's 1/8 of an inch with that triangular shaped fillet there. So that's a lot to go over. with one sheet of iron on, you know. So let's go ahead and tack down our other doubler here. Now when we're tacking this down, we're putting some pressure with this iron. We're actually, we're pressing on this pretty good. You don't want to dent the balsa, of course, so be careful. Like I said, it just takes a couple times until you know how fast you can go, how hard you can press, how fast you need to move the iron before you burn the Monokote. I mean, you can actually burn a hole in this stuff. The same thing, we're just trying to iron out wrinkles before it gets to the wood. What happens is if you get a wrinkle and you try and stick it down to the wood, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, it'll create a crease. And kind of your first train of thought would be to heat that up more and try and press that crease in. And although it does relatively work, the crease will sort of go away. It's very visible, and the crease doesn't really go away. I mean, you're just pushing into the balsa. So be kind of weary of that. Don't try and press this stuff in. Get rid of the wrinkles before it hits the wood. So hopefully by now you can really start to see the outline of the fuse very well in this Monokote. Also, with this where we are, while you're seeing this outline, it's very smooth on the wood. You should see no wrinkles on the fuse itself. You're going to see a lot of wrinkles in the wing saddle. On the outside, these will all come out before we get to the rounded edge, so don't worry about that either. Okay, so now the nose of this plane, being plywood and sanded very well, is going to stick very well. So we're not going to have adhesion problems. So just take and stretch the covering. My pattern kind of changes, top, bottom, bottom, top, whatever. It's not that important. The thing is, you don't want to sit there and just take your iron and go across. That's not going to work. Try to go and do it in strips. Don't get the whole thing, because you're kind of you want to push the wrinkles off and away, as you're sticking it down there. So you should be seeing the outline very, very well. And because you can see the outline anywhere where you have like what will appear to be a bubble on that outline, just take it and iron it down at an angle. Get it onto the rounded section there. Try not to stay too long anywhere. You don't want to wrinkle up the covering at this point and ruin a section, So just do it. It's better to make a couple short passes like this. If you do it quick enough like this, it'll get hot enough. See, and now you should see the outline very, very well. It should be very distinct. So at this point, let me reconfigure everything just in the interest of saving time, and we'll get on to how we're going to do. We're going to do the bottom first because it's easiest, so we can cut some stuff off and get it out of our way. Okay. All I did was take the tape off so we can move it. I want to hold it up. I'm going to have to kind of hold it up here close to the camera. Maybe I can reposition this. This is probably easy to do, hard to explain. Let me get it real close. So, as you can see, it's really wrinkly, but if I pull it tight, those wrinkles kind of go away, right? So with that method, let's attack this really rough looking spot here. That's not a problem because it's not creased and folded over onto itself. If the sticky part's touching the sticky part when it gets heated, then you're going to have issues. There's going to be a crease. There's really nothing you can do except for cut it off and make a patch. So we don't have any of that. We're totally fine here. So we're going to pull it away from the wood, heat it up. We're kind of just relaxing it. Okay. See, we got rid of our wrinkles. Now, at this point, we can go ahead and stick it to the fuse. Like I said, there's only going to be a couple problem areas. Should I say there will only be a couple opportunities for learning here. Okay. So because we did that, we eliminate the wrinkles and it rolls on very easy. As you can see, the rest of it, because it is straight, although that's not adhered, it's not wrinkled. Because as we went down this empennage part of the aircraft, we just did it all in one pass. So there's no wrinkles. So at this point, you're actually just going to fold that over and hit it. Just iron it down. There's no difficulties there. So let me just do that real quick. I don't think we need to go over that too in depth. Like I said, it's already straight. It's really nothing there. I did kind of change my mind. Let me just show this. The way I do it is when I have it and I pull it across because we're on bare wood. The other side of the fuse, when we cover it, we're actually going to do this a different technique entirely. So at this point, what I would do, like I said, I would usually hold it between my legs, but I'm just going to pull the Monokote tight, and I'm going to do, at the fuse and slowly work my way around the radius, all the way around. So we're going to go right at where the radius starts, all the way around, ironing to where the radius ends, because that's where we're going to cut it off. That way we don't get a seam. Don't iron down a section that you're not pulling tight. The one thing that I would say is probably the biggest challenge for people is trying to use an iron after the fact or a heat gun after the fact to shrink down the covering. If you get this on, I'm pulling really tight. If you get this on tight before it's shrunk down, it's in a relaxed state and you won't need to shrink it. I mean, obviously, there's going to need shrinkage. There's going to be wrinkles. You're going to kind of go over it, especially on a wing, and I'll show you the wing. But usually the way I put it on, it's kind of tight, and it just takes one quick pass to get rid of all the wrinkles on a wing. So like I said, that's really it. It's really simple. It's adhered. And you can see a really good straight line all the way down. That's actually just going to be where we're going to cut it as well. So let me clean this up a little bit, and then we'll move on to the tail, which is, pretty curvy there. So we're going to have definitely an area of learning. Okay. reposition the camera so it's easier for me to hold this. So one thing you'll want to do when you're going around something like this is first pull on it and see where your folds are going to be. Clearly they're going to be at the corners, but look how bad they're going to be, right? So what we're going to do, we don't want to start with the easy part because there's so much area here for us to be able to pull. We kind of want to start just working that corner around and rotating the wrinkles out as we shrink it. So we're going to shrink the corners, which is going to pull this center tight and pull it over for us. It's actually going to kind of make a form, okay? I'm hoping you guys can see this. So same thing. We're going to hold it away from the wood. We're going to create wrinkles. We're going to pull it away from this side and pull it up. So we're going to kind of make some wrinkles, and we're going to shrink those wrinkles out. And we're actually just making the form to this round corner. We're molding it, you know. So see how we're already, I mean, that was just one quick little hit. And we're already molded to that corner. But it's not adhered. You see, I can pull it right off. It's not stuck down. And we're going to come up here. We're going to do that here. We're going to get, we're going to get some wrinkles out. And then we're going to come back here. We're going to rotate it a little bit. We're going to pull some more wrinkles out. And we're just shrinking them right away, getting rid of the wrinkles. And by getting rid of those, we're just forming the covering to the part. Now we're going to come down to the bottom. Now we can get the bottom on right before the corner, not at the corner itself. Let's see. Now we're going to work on the corner. It's a lot of pulling, a lot of twisting, and a lot of movement, and it's kind of hard to show this on a video camera. Okay, but see, we only spent a couple seconds here, and we've got it pretty well formed around. We got no wrinkles. This is how you make a nice paint looking finish, is that, you know, you don't want to cut this and just shrink it on, because you can cut it and turn it and iron it on and it'll look just fine. But it, you know, if somebody comes up on it, they can say, oh, you know, you got a seam right there. That's where you cut it. This one, it's kind of hard to explain this, you know, on how to do it and how you're cutting it. But the way it's going to happen is you're going to get the shape, okay? I'm only 50% of the wood part as far as actually sticking to the Monokote. So this is just kind of slow going. Take your time. And see, I got a nice sized wrinkle right there. So now I'm going to work on that one. You're just pulling the wrinkles away from the wood. And then once you get a nice, sweet looking molded spot, you pull it down over the wood, let it cool. And then, of course, once this is done to where we cut it, we go over all this again with the iron to make sure that it's stuck down really well. This is the hardest part, this tail, especially on a Ringmaster, because it's not a 90-degree angle. I mean, it comes up and shoots way in. So coming around this corner, this is really sharp. Sorry, I don't know where the eye is. So as you can see, we're really forming that tail very nice. Okay, and just keep doing it. Just keep working at it. It just takes time. These corners, you just can't rush them. That's all there is to it. I mean, you can just take and cut slots and roll it over. I mean, that's how they do like ARFs. If you just want to get flying fast, just do that if you just want to hurry up. This doesn't take much more time. Obviously, I'm stopping and talking and all that. I could already be done, but like I said, I just want to make sure that you guys have a good experience with this. I personally think this is really fun. My favorite part of model aircraft is building the aircraft, especially covering it, to come up with something, real nice and shiny, real super smooth. And this is Monokote. This is how your fuselage is going to look. It's going to look really super smooth. Just in the interest of saving time and watchability, let's go ahead and split this into another video segment. And the hard part's over with, the nose. I'll show you how to do the nose. We only got two kind of compound curves there. Nowhere near as bad as this. So let's go ahead and break here, and we'll start up another video to finish this off.